Hello and welcome again to today's video on customized traffic lights at the 4 intersection using Anylogic tutorial. In the previous video where we did something similar to this, we were not able to look deeply into the customization of the traffic light. We only made use of the default settings and we only did a slight adjustment or modification to the traffic light, which might not be realistic enough if we want to introduce it into a realistic road. But in this video, we're going to be looking at a much more realistic traffic light configuration. And before we can go into that, we are going to be setting up a four-way intersection, and we also have our flow logic into add our flow logic into the model. Then after that, we can go into the introduction of our traffic light and also the density map. Then edit and modify the traffic light to suit whatever purpose we want to use it for. Then if we also have the opportunity, we'll also be able to introduce other forms of vehicles into the model and run the simulation. So without wasting too much time, let us get started. So the first thing we're going to do is to open a new model. We're going to be setting up a new model. So I think we can just name it customized traffic. Customized traffic light. So then the next thing is to change this from seconds to minutes. Then we create. So this is what we have after opening a new model. So we have the window page, and it's in this window page. Within this layer we want to use, we can try to expand it as much as we want so that whatever road we want to create or whatever road network we want to create, it will have enough space to have enough flow within. And for this, when I click on this particular line, we have this line. So when you click on any part of the line, we can edit the properties. We go under the properties, and here we can see as a default we have it as 1000 in width and 600 when it comes to the height. So you can decide to increase this to 1000, then increase this to 1500. All this is just to be able to create enough frame for us to draw our road network. So since this is done, we can close it. So when we say we have enough space within this, and even if you want to move it this way, there is enough space to for our network. So then in also we can also try to change our meters here. Maybe what we have is the 25 meters. We can click on this, then change it maybe to 35. The roller, yeah, you can change from 25 to okay, here we have it as 10. You can just maybe make it 35. So you can have the scale. So without wasting much time, let us get into it. So the first thing we're going to do is to draw our road, and in order to do that, we come under the road traffic library, because that is where we have our space markup. So the first markup we're going to be using, the space markup, is going to be the road. So we double click on this. So when we double click, we want to draw an intersection, so we can start from the left to the right. We draw it from the left to the right at every of the four cardinal points. So in order to do that here, since we have more space, okay, you can just draw from the left to the right. So we have that. I want to do that again. So we double click to drop it, then click on yes. So after doing that, so from the left to the right, we also do the same for the other parts here. So we click on the road. So we also have something like this. Then we go to the upper part of the road also, we do the same thing. So we have that. Then we do the same thing here. So here we have it. So, but what we have here is two lane each for each each side of the road. So we can decide to edit that. We can edit that. So when we click on the first one, this is the north road, and no, sorry, this is the west road. This is the east road. This is the north road, and this is the south road. So we can also edit the properties that way. So here we have the west road. So we can increase this from 2 to 3. The same thing also, we increase this to 3. So if we want to introduce the median strip width, like in the middle of the road, maybe we want to introduce a median, maybe in whatever form it is, we can also do that at this point. So in order to introduce a median, we can just put what is the median size. We can say let it be 10 meters. So we can see something like this. But if we want something lesser than that, maybe let's just do 5 meters median strip. So we have the medium strip, then we can say the color is green. If you want to change it to any color, we can do that. Also the same thing for the texture. We can change it to maybe grass. Click on this, then we click on OK. So it looks a little bit natural this way. So we have the west road. We've already done that. So all these things is already done. Then we move to the other part of the road. We click on the east road. We go under the properties. So So we can have it as east road. We increase to 3. The same thing for the median. So we have it as 5. And we change the texture to grass. Then we click OK. So we have that sorted. Because I already changed this, so let's just write it in full. West road, east road. And let me just have it in full. West road. So so now we've been able to do that. We do the same thing for the ones here. This is the north, the south road. So we also edit the name of the road. This is the south road. So that is the south road. We increase to three lanes for the forward lane and the backward lane, three. Then we change this to 5. Then it's on green, but we have to change it to the grass. So we have this. Then we move to the last one here. We go under the properties. So this is the north road, north, the north road. So we can increase this to 3, increase this to 3. Then the median also, we put it 5 meters. Then change it from grass to, and from green to texture to grass. And we have this. So at this point, this is what it will look like if we also want to, reduce based on this, we're going to be having something of this nature. So if we want to, so this is what we have. So after when we've been able to create our road, but before we proceed, we just need to click on the road again, go under the properties, then change to, okay, I think maybe we might have to, let me check. Yeah, so we have the right hand. We can decide to change it to the left hand, the traffic, change it to left hand. So then, so if you want it as right hand, if you want it as left hand, so whichever way it is, we have it here. So we can proceed at this point. So, and if you also want to increase the length of the road, we can also come here to do that and increase the length of the road. So, so I want to increase, we can do that there. The length of the road, we also want to increase. Yeah, we can also do the same. We also want to increase. You can you can do that. So so the next thing we are going to be doing at this point is we need to introduce our intersection. So in order to introduce our intersection, we can drag it to the middle of the four roads. We do this. So after doing that, after dragging it in between, so we move it closer to the road on the west. We let it intersect with the road on the west. Okay. In order not to, so let's move this a bit backward so we don't get confused with this. So when we've already introduced it, so we move it to closer to this. So we have this. So after that, we then move this closer. Then we have, then we do the same for the other two side of the road. We have this, then this also. Then we, so at this point, this is what we'll be having. But this is not the way we want it to be, so we can still do some modifications. So we can still do some modifications by moving this backward slowly, because it's in order to achieve what we want, so we just move it backward slowly. So the moment it detaches, we know that okay, we have to undo whatever thing we have done. So we'll do this also. So you can see when I moved it too much, it detached. So it has to be done. So you can see we have our intersection point. So let's see from here, is it okay, or we still need to, let me see if moving it back here. Okay, so if we decide to have something like this, is it sufficient? Are we okay with this intersection, or we still feel we need to create more? Okay, so now this is it. So we have been able to create our intersection point, and we can see the default connections we have to every part of the road, be it the north road, the south road, the west road, and the east road. So what we are going to be doing at this point is we are going to be modifying the connections between the roads. And in order to do that, the first thing we have to do is click on the connectors. We can see at this point the arrows are showing the ones we are meant to edit. So this ones, that was this part of the road and this part of the road. So starting with the first one, you can decide to click on this. So it goes, we have the right turn lane and the true lane, which is perfectly okay. And for this is just the true lane, that is, it's perfectly okay. But for this, for the sake of this video, we're going to remove the U-turn lane. So when I click on it again, okay, we have to click on this to remove. So if I click on this again, so we can see we have it here. Just we remove this. So we have three lanes going in the left turn lane, but I can just decide to reduce it to two. Then we still have the true lane. So let's come back to this. So we have something of this nature, or we can also decide to remove the true lane when it comes to this. So on this lane, we only have the left turn lane. So here we have a true lane. We also have the true lane here, but also vehicles going on the right turn lane can also use this part of the road. But for this part of the road, it's only for left turn lane. So vehicles going through lane will not come on this lane. They can only stay on these other two lanes. So we have been able to edit that, and we do the same for every other part of the road. So we can remove this, we remove this, and we remove this, then we change, remove this, and sorry. So let's click on it if it is effective. Here it is. So this is okay, and this is also okay. So we move to the next one. So for this, we remove this, we remove this, and we remove this, then take out this one and take this out. So let's click on it again. Okay, it's effective. So this is fine, and this is fine. Then we move to this. This is okay. This is okay. So in most cases, we can see that it is the left turn lane that we have to edit. So it depends on the type of traffic intersection or the movement around the intersection you're trying to create that will determine the configuration at this point. So you have an understanding of the road network we're trying to create and what you think the traffic situation should be like when it comes to the movement of vehicles at the point of intersection. So, but basically for what we're doing, this is what we want to achieve, and we have been able to edit every part of this road network. So after when we've done that, it's high time for our flow logic, adding our flow logic here. So the first thing we are going to do, we know, is introduce our car source. So we are going to introduce our car source. Then after that is we also need to introduce our select output 5. We already explained that in previous videos, not just one, not just two, but I've been able to explain it over time, so I might not have to go into that anymore. So we have the select output 5, bring it into the window. Then the next thing is the next block we are going to be introducing is our car move to. Then we also have our car dispose. So at this point, if we decide to we'll connect this to the select output, then to this, then we have it to this. So we then edit the properties of the car source. So where is it starting from? Which road do we want it to be? So the car source, let it be from the west. Let it start from the west. So then we have it here as, since it's from the west, so that'll be west road. So yes, this will be the west road. So we have the west road. So that is already effective. So we can close this. So then we move to our select output 5. Select output 5 talks about at what probabilities do we want vehicles to move within those the car moves to, at what probabilities. Here, because we have 5 connectors, so that is why we have 0.2 at all the points. But it's just, you can decide to take out this. Sorry, we can just make this, let's just, for example, make it 0.7. 0.7 means the probability of vehicles going in whatever direction we are going to be including at the car move to will be around the 0.7 of the total vehicles. So then we can close this. So we move to the car move to, where is it moving to? So since we have it from the west, let it move from the west to the east. So we edit that under the properties. So to the east, let's put east, E there. So still on the road, and we have it here. So which road is it? It is the east road. We want it to move along the east road. From, so here it's going not just the end of forward lane, but also end of backward lane. Right? We change that. Then we close this. So with this now, if we decide to run this model, we'll see the movement of vehicles from the west road to the east road. So let us quickly look into that. So you say run customized traffic light. So as we can see here, we can see the movement of the vehicles from the west road to the east road, and that is what we hope to achieve from the first point of our block creation. And this is our chart flow. So from the flow logic, so we can see the movement from the west to the east, just as we can see here. So without wasting much time, I will have to be a little bit fast with this, setting up the whole configurations or the whole block, so that we can go into the traffic lights customization. So now we're back to it. So we are creating from the west to the east. We have already done that. So we also need to be able to replicate that. So we copy this and we can paste it. Then we still need one more. Maybe. So we place it here. And we also do the same for this. We can remove the connectors we have here. Also take out the connectors we have here. So when we have, so that means we can change the connectors this way. So then we do the same thing for this. So at this point, we can see the movement along the three rows. So let's edit the properties here. So this is moving to, so we have west to east. Let's move to the north. So if it is moving to the north, that means the road we have here will be the north road, and it will still end, it will be at the end of the backward lane. So we have that. Then we proceed by doing the same for this. So this will be for the south. So this will be to the south, then road, then here will also still be the south road. Then the end of the backward lane still remains. So we close this. So we can see we have the movement between the three parts of the road. So if we decide to run this model, we'll see the movement, not just the true lane, we'll also see the left turn lane and the right turn lane. So let's quickly do that. But before we proceed with it, we did not change the select output configuration here because we only show the movement to the east. We haven't done that. We've not edited or modified it for the north road and the south road. So we click on the select output file. We go under the properties. So we can see we only included for the first one, which is the car move to the east. So for the other one, we can just, let's just say this is 0.3. Let's change this to 0.3. But for this, change this to 0.4. So 0.4, 0.3, 0.3. So that means that there is a high probability, a higher probability of vehicles moving from the west to the east than either to the right turn lane or the left turn lane. So now we've been able to do that. We can run the model. You can see some of the vehicles are moving through the right turn lane. You can see some of them going through the true lane, and we can see some of them on through the left turn lane, as we can see here. So if we want to speed up, we can also speed it up. So just to see the movement. So we can see the true lane. Some of them through the true lane, the right turn lane, then the left turn lane. So that means for whatever thing we have done, we are on track. We're on track. Because since our any logic is still running, it means that we haven't done anything wrong, or probably there is no error yet from our configuration or our setup or our flow. So we proceed by setting up for the other part. So for the castles we have here is usually from the west, so we have to create for the east, we have to create for the north, we have to create for the south. So for this, I might have to just keep creating them without running the model, so it can be very fast with it. So here we can just copy, so and paste it here. So I've been able to create for the three. So let me just move it down, move it down. So this is the one we need first. So the same thing for the select output. We'll come here. I still need one more, two more. Oh, so let's move it down for this. This one is for, so we still have up to the, also want to create another one here, and we still need one more. So now that we have this, we can connect. We have the connector from the car source to the car select output, and from the car select output to the first one. So we also do the same here. So at this point, they all still go to the car dispose. So this is the west. We need to also, this is the east. So let's edit the configurations. You have the east, then we move from the west road to the east road. So let's check for the select output. Do we still have all the properties? There is 0.4, 0.3, 0.3. Okay, I think that's fine. So we can close that. Now for the first one we have here, it's going to be from the east back to the west. So we have it from the east to the west. So 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 then this will be to the maybe north. So this will be to the north. Then the last part will be to the south. So at this point we can see it's giving this plus sign, which means the name is already in use. So that there won't be any form of confusion, we can just say the south 2, the second south. So now it's effective S2. And we could see this one didn't change, so we have to go back to it again. So we have the west. This is meant to be the north. So that means you can just name it north 2 that way. And so we have it all set up. So we continue with the third one. So we put out our select output. Then we know this is meant to go into this. So after we have our west, we have our east, the sources from the west and the sources from the east. We also need to create a source from the north. So we have the north. So this we have the north here. Then we can close this. So we also have to create our car move too. So let's just copy one of these, copy as usual. So now that we have this, then we connect to this. Then this also. So this is showing there is an error with our connection. And then everything leading us straight back to the car dispose. Okay, so the last one is going to be for the north. So let's move in. But okay, we haven't edited the properties. We've edited the properties for the north. We have done the west, the east, the north, but the car move too, we still need to edit it. So since it's moving from the north, the first thing is going to move from the north to the south. So if I have moving to the south, the name exists already. So you can just put S3. So then doing this to the south. So from this, Since we have we have the west and the east, so let me make it west 3, because that's the third road. So we'll change this to west. So that is the west 3, we close. And then the final one is the east. So we already have it east 3, so which is still on the east, yes. So this is all okay. So we've been able to set up for the this flow logic. Then we move to the last one, which will be the south. So this will be for the south. So we have the south. Then we change the road here to South Road. Then we have it connected to this. But before we proceed again, we still need to introduce. So you can, or probably, let me just draw one out from here. So like we have, if we don't want to copy from the one we have in the, we can always bring in a new one. So like as I have here, I can also say, so here we have it, connect. We have it connected here. So we have that connected. We have that also connected. Then we have this also connected. So this is what we have. So let's just change the properties. I think the properties of the selected output is still in check. Yeah, I think it's still okay. So we go under the, so here we have the can move to from the south to the north. So that'll be north 4. Then we change this to north. It should be end of backward. So from the north, south to the north, then we have to the west 4. So we can close this. Then the last part here, we have the east 4. End of backward lane, and we have this. Then we can close. So at this point, we have been able to set up everything. We're able to set up this. So just to be sure that everything we have here is running or probably well set up, we need to run the model to see the interaction between the roads at the point of intersection. So as we can see there are movement from every sides of the road. So that is to show that the model we're able to create is working perfectly. Everything is okay. We can see the movement from the west here. We can see the movement from the north. We can also see the movement from the east and also the movement from the south. So this attests to the fact that yeah, we are doing something right and there is no error so far. So that means every of our connections are perfectly done and we can proceed to the next step. So the next step we're going to be looking into now is the customization of the traffic light or the introduction of the traffic light and also the customization of the traffic light, which is one of the most important reasons why we are setting up this or we're making this video. So let us go into that because at this point we can see there is something like a traffic congestion here. There vehicles are blocking each other. So that is as a result of the fact that we don't have any traffic light system in place in the simulation or in the model. So we need to be able to introduce that in order to avoid this clash. So at this point, if we want to introduce our traffic lights, we come back to the road we have in the window. Then we move our traffic light here and drop it very close to the intersection. So when we do that, now at this point we'll click on the traffic light and we edit the properties of the traffic light. Now, for us to have more efficiency, I'm going to move this a little bit this way. Then I will expand the the space for the traffic light properties. So I'm going to be doing something like this so we can see it directly. Now here we have the traffic light. The first thing we have to do at the point of intersection here, so we have to pick the traffic light we're using in the. So this is the current traffic light we have, and here is what we have. So we will not be using the intersection line like the one we have here. What we're going to be making use of is intersections lane connectors. So what does it mean? Every of the connectors we have in this intersection or what we have in our model, we want to be able to edit them, customize them the way we want. So when I click on this, it will show all the connectors we have. So when I click on this, you can see we have all the connectors. So it shows all the connectors we have in this model or at this point of intersection. So because when I decide to, you can decide to click on them, then we can start changing them. But before we go into that, now we need to be able to edit these connectors. Now but we need to add our yellow and they had the yellow light phase. We need to be able to add the red, the green, and do all this kind of configurations. So first thing we have to do, if I introduce my green and my yellow, the yellow face, what I need to do is that I need to put it almost in between every of the lanes. So if I decide to do this, have it in between here, then which leads to this, then after this, then I can also have another yellow, then I can have a lane, then have a yellow, then there's something like this. So then we have another one, then we have the yellow. So what I'm trying to do here is that we're going to be having four different phases of movement of vehicles. So coming back before we looking at this point of intersection. So what we're trying to create here is we have vehicles moving from the north north to the south. Definitely also we have the backward lane also from the south to the north. So we will have that one. That is phase one. The second phase will be maybe from the right turn lane of the left turn lane of the south, that is from the south to the west. Then we also have the left turn lane from the north to the east. So that is another phase. Then we have the third phase, which is the movement from the east to the west, and we that is the true lane. And we also have the movement from the west east, that is the west to the east. We also have the movement from the east to the west, that is phase 3. And the phase 4 will be from the left turn lane from the west to the north. Then we also have the left turn lane from the east to the south. So these are the four faces we want to create. And how do we do that? So it is very easy. We can just pick, starting from the first one here. We want what? How do we want to go about this? I want this. If I want this to be green, it's already green. I also want this to be green, which that is already done. So it's moving from the north to the south. So that means here also can be green. So that means there is movement. Here is also green. We also do the same for this part of the road. So here can also be green. Then the movement this way is also green. So what we have, or what we've been able to achieve, you see, it has already changed here based on the configurations we're trying to set up. Let's go back to it again. When I click on my traffic light, it will show exactly what we have so far. So we can see this is not meant to change. So we can see the movement from the north to the south, and also from the south to the movement from the north to the south, and also the backward lane also from the south to the north, which doesn't still take away also the movement from the north to the right turn lane, and also the right turn lane, which also goes directly with the true lane. So that means at any of this point of the traffic lights, when this is green, then this is going to be the movement. So since we're done with that, we can move to the next phase. So after that, then we have our yellow lights, which we've been able to do. Then the next thing will be the next one. So that means after when we've had that, so what will be the next point? The next point will be, let's just say, let us make it the, since we've been able to do this, so let's do the left turn lane. Yeah, let's make it the left turn lane. So that is when here and this, so the movement on this road will be green, and that definitely means this can also be green. So that is movement along this road can be green. So, and I think we can also include this because that on that road, there's always movement on that particular side of the road. So we can leave that also as green. So what it means is from our east to the south, from the east to the south, there is that the left turn lane, and also from the west to the north, the true lane, or the west left turn lane. So at that point, when it's all green, we know this is also movement. So there won't be any other movement. We can see from our green movements here, there is no point of intersection across, or probably they intersecting at any point. So that means that it's going to be a true lane. So when we have that, the next thing we can do, we can see also in the second phase, it's already done. So we have the green, then we move to the next phase. So the next phase, we can also have it, since we've been able to do from the west to the east, or maybe probably let's just configure this instead. Change this, change this. This is green. This is also green. Sorry. So when we have that green, so at this point, so if it is moving, this can also be green, and we know since this is the movement here will also be green. So that means vehicles moving from the east road to the west road, and we also have from the west to the east. So we have that set up. We have that set up. Yes, so we have that set up. So that is for the third phase. So we have the green light and the yellow light. Then we have the fourth point, or the fourth phase. On the fourth phase, we already done from the, so now it's time from the north to the east, then south to the west. So that is, we have this movement. We have this movement. Then it doesn't still stop. If that is the case, When it's moving, it does not stop this movement here, and it won't also still stop the. I think basically it shouldn't stop every of the movements here. I think there's always movement around the right turn lane is usually moving. So I think for almost every of the phase, the right turn lane is always moving. So like we have here, so at least we can still see there is no point of intersection. There is no point of it didn't intersect in sense of maybe showing that there is going to be a congestion or between some of the vehicles. So like we have it here. So we have the movement here, and also this is going through, this continues. And the ones from this side, even when this is road, this one can move in this on this road. So coming back to the first one we had to set up. So we can always have this as also green, then this also is green. There's always movement on that road. So the same thing for this one. Set this up as green. You can also set this up as green. Then for this particular one also, we set this up as green, and this also is green. So the movement on the right turn lane is always the right turn lane is usually active. So now that we've been able to do that, so that this is what we say, well, this is what I call the customization of our traffic lights. We've been able to configure it based on the way we want it to be, how we want it to look like, compared to what we had in the previous video when we used the intersection stop lines. So where it's only going to be from one lane first, there is green, then other lane again, another lane. So rather than that, we can configure it the way we want, just as what I've done here. So and here is the duration when it comes to seconds. So we can change maybe the duration to 30 seconds. Let's just say, for example, then we have 3 seconds for the yellow light blinking. Then here also, we can also have it as maybe 30 seconds. It all depends. This is just based on an assumption. Yeah, we also have 30 seconds. The same thing here, we have 30 seconds. So we will be having this at the end of the day. So this is what it means for us to be able to customize our traffic lights, basically any way we want it. So it depends on the kind of road network we want to create or the kind of traffic configuration we want for that road. So whatever way we want it to be, I'm just trying to do this based on some of the popular roads or the intersections that I've seen so far. That is how that is why I'm able to do this. But we have some other roads basically they deal to their different kind of configuration where this is not the best traffic light configuration to use. But like I said, I'm doing this based on the ones that I am used to, and I believe I am able to replicate here. So we just need to be able to know it based on one of the phase by phase. How does it move? Study it and be able to come up with the best possible ways in which we can achieve um, um, the best road performance when it comes to the movement of our vehicles. So after when we've been able to do that, I think that should be all. So we can close this, then we can run the model so and see the simulation. So from here we can see the intersection light here showing red, and when it is red we can see the ones that are green. I think we'll be able to have a better view of this by the time I introduce our 3D animation, so we can see it a little bit realistically compared to what we have here. So you can see at this point we have the right turn lane in this direction and also here. So if we have to set it up, we have to move it a bit faster. We can see the movement also at that point. So this is to show how we have been able to introduce, and at this point we can see that we don't have that congestion the way we used to before the introduction of the traffic lights, because now that the traffic light has been introduced, everything is done in the right way. The movement of vehicles, the simulation is working perfectly. So, so with that being said, so I think probably after this, let's as much as possible to bring in our density map, introduce our density map into the model. Let's introduce our density map. So at this point, if we want to introduce our road network descriptor, that is the density map. So we just have to drag this into the layout. We can just drag it somewhere here. Then we click on it. We edit the properties. We go under the properties. So here we have the road network. So we have to select the current road network that we have. Assuming we change the name, the new name will be what we'll be having here. For the enable density map, we can click on it here. So that means it has been enabled. So with that, we can close this. Then if we want to run the model again and see the simulation, we can also do that. Then we'll see the introduction of the road network, the strip tour. We can always see that. So let's try that. Has been enabled. So you can see different colors showing the movement of the vehicles at every point or in every part of the road. We can see, and here we can see the traffic light also changing its color from red moving to yellow, green, so just like that. So that has been enabled. What we want to do now is we want to introduce our 3D. We need to be able to introduce a 3D into this layout. So in order to do that, we go under our presentation. Here we have the 3D window. Then we can drag it into the model this way. So we now that we have been able to drag it in, we can also add buildings around this layout that we've been able to create. If we want to add buildings, so 3D buildings, we can also do that. And in order to add the 3D buildings, we come under here, we see the 3D objects. We can click on the 3D objects. We can say people, buildings, road transport, whatever it is, we have different. So we just click on the buildings. So we have different types of buildings we think maybe might be of use. So like this one, we have the store. I can just put my store around here. Click on yes. So you can see that is already there. If we want to add more buildings, I can drag more buildings into the layout. Yes. So we have the building night or something like that. Yes. So if we want to increase it, we want to rotate it, we can also do that. We just have to use the rotation. So I say, yeah, we can use it to rotate. Like we have the gas station, so we can also a gas station here. Yes, let's say we have a gas station there, and we have a hospital. We can maybe introduce it on this side of the road. So you can see if we want to have the hospital here, or probably we want to still move it down a little bit. Then we have factories. So if we want to increase the size of the factory, we can also do that like this. Or you want to reduce the size of the factory, that is also possible. So all these things is just to add objects into the layout if we want to. But in most cases, we can add as many buildings because I think that is one of the things that we might tend to have a lot of if we want to. And we can also move it back. We'll feel maybe probably it's too close to the road. Then we have the house. So I'm just at this point, I'm just adding anything possible at this point. So when now here we have all these things being added, and we already have it in 3D, so we can run the model. So when we run this, we can see the effect of the new additions. So here we can see this is what we have. this is the 2D, but here is the 3D. But if you want to have a better view of the 3D, we can just look out for, we come here, check out the 3D. So when we look at the 3D we have here, we can see the buildings we were able to introduce. We can see the buildings there in the 3D. We can see the factory in the 3D view. You can see. So this is a 3D view. So here we can rotate. I can zoom in. I can zoom out. I can move it to the left, to the right. Then we can also use the alternate key to have a better view in this form, whichever way we want to do it. Yeah. So you can see. So that means the buildings has been included into this model, and you can see it in the simulation.